So Munjya actually came into my life at Maddock, where I had come to just have a one-to-one interaction with the creative team here, and they wanted me to make a film for them because I had made a film called Zombively, which had done pretty well in Marathi, and they liked it. So Maddock ने कहा कि चलो एक meeting कर लेंगे, let's see what we can work together on, how can we combine, collaborate, what can we make together, and it is, I think, destiny. What happens is sometimes you manifest to wanting to make a certain film, and you think about it for a very long time, for many years, and sometimes that same film finds you. So Munjya was that film. So growing up in Konkan, wherever I have kind of had I've spent most of my childhood in my ancestral town, I have heard stories of Munjya. And you remember, as a child, when you were sitting with your cousins outside the house at night post dinner, people love to come up with ghost stories. So Munjya is a story I had heard about a lot, many times, and as a kid it had really fascinated me. So when I saw a film like Kantara, when I saw a film like Tumbad, I felt, why are we not telling more stories? And Munjya was a story I knew of. So I was already working on it as an idea for a Marathi film. And I was really intending to make it in the next few years, where I was hoping to crack the larger idea. That is the same time I met the Maddock team. And they told me that they were working on a similar idea, which was titled Munjya, which is a story written by Yogesh Sandekar, which was pretty much in place. So I said, I would love to read this. And I told them this, that, I had this in my mind. And if you want to make it in Hindi and you want to make it at a bigger platform for a wider audience, I'd be really happy to collaborate on this. So I read the script and I had a few apprehensions about what that version was. So I kind of combined the film I wanted to make with the script they had. I presented that idea to them, and the producers loved it. So that's how the film journey started. Munjya basically, it is a folklore. You would say it is a story passed through generations. It is a belief in Konkan that when a boy, after his thread ceremony, if he dies an unnatural death, basically he enters the brahmacharya after the ceremony is over. So that is the life that you commit to, which is the life of education. You live in your guru's house, and I'm talking about the olden traditions and beliefs. And in Konkan, this thread ceremony is done to every child born in a Brahmin family. So after that age of 8 and 10, when the boy goes through that ceremony and he commits to that phase in his life, if he dies an unnatural death, he becomes this monster goblin, I would say, called Munjya. And the belief is that, Munjyas live on people trees, because there are a lot of those trees in Konkan. So you will see when people kind of pass those trees, or at night, those kids who are around those trees are told by elders that if you venture around those trees at night, Munjya will come and take you away, or he'll attack you. So I was told those stories, and that is where the belief system of Munjya comes. But I'll also tell you this, that when later on in my life, when I used to travel to Konkan for work, or I've shot a couple of films there, I would see people offering prasad in form of a cut coconut, under the tree, where they still believe that Munjya is a guardian angel also in a certain way, where if you keep him happy and don't anger him, he will also look after you. So even today, I would say elders in these areas still do have that belief. So I had always wanted to make this film for kids, and that's exactly when I said I had my own version of it. When I read the script for the first time, this was a female protagonist film. It was about a girl who fights Munjya and takes him on, and she was an elder girl. She was a girl in her mid-20s, late 20s. So, but when I read the script, I felt, Munjya, in terms of his connection to the audience, to connection to me predominantly, was when I was 10 and 8. So I felt this character, this creature, this film will cater to the audience who watches Stranger Things, who watches E.T., who watches Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, all these kind of films. So then I brought the protagonist's age down. I wrote him as a 19-year-old. I wrote him as a boy who was underconfident, who's going through his growing up years, who's kind of becoming an adult but doesn't know how to. So the pitching of the film was meant for the kids. And I always felt that, we have not made a lot of cinema in India that caters to that age group. Because when kids come, parents come. When parents come, the family comes. So there's no logic to why we have not made those films. And I remember telling you this, that when I'd gone to meet my actor Satyaraj, who I cast for the role of Padre, Katappa as we know him as, he had asked me, what is Munjya? Like, explain it to me in a few lines. And I told him about the film, and he said, oh, is this like Chhota Chetan? So I said, oh, Chhota Chetan, oh yeah, I remember it, because I remember watching that film as a 3D film, and I was really young then. So that reference was such an old reference, and we don't have a reference after that, which is quite astonishing as to why we have not made films for kids between 8 to 15, you know, that really target them. When the West is making those films every summer, you'll have a big Marvel film releasing or a big film releasing that is meant for that age group. But we as Indians have hardly made these, and we've always kind of assumed that animation films are meant for them, but it's not that, you know. Live action, fantastical films, which are adventurous, can be made for that age group. So Munjya was that attempt from my end. And I was kind of keeping my fingers crossed and really hoping that that audience comes to theatres. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see that it's the exact audience that's made the film work. Whenever I went to any show, the day the film released, till even today, I'm in my 6th week of release. Even today, if you go to the theatre to watch the film, you will see that younger age group come with their families and parents to watch the film. We have hardly kind of even touched upon, you know, that for that age group. Like, we have literature about them. We have Amar Chitrakatha, we have Tinkle, we had Jakata Tales, we had so much, you know, as kids growing up. So I had attempted this in Marathi when I had made a film called Faster Fene, which Ritesh had produced. And that film had got a crazy response. And that Faster Fene was basically an adaptation of film from a very famous book series, like how Hardy Boys and Famous Five is. So in Marathi there was a Faster Fene, the boy detective. And that film was targeted to that very age group that we're talking about. And because that film did really well, I got a bit of confidence, you know, that that age group does come to theatres. But again, in Marathi, you see a lot of films like Killa or like Elizabeth Ekadashi, which have been made for that age group, and they've done really well. So I don't know why in Hindi we have never kind of, in mainstream cinema, not targeted that age group. And I now hope, looking forward, people don't just look at Munjya as a horror comedy. People look at Munjya as a film that is also a children's film, you know, a film that is fantasy, that is adventure, and that also kind of caters to that age group that we've hardly made films for.
What is interesting also about the film is about the casting.
So I'll tell you what, when I wrote the film and I met the producers and we had a long discussion about who should be in the film. One thing he was very clear about, Dinesh Vijan, is Munjya, the title suggests that it is Munjya's film. Because we had decided at the very onset to go with a 3D CGI character, he said that, okay, this is going to be a creature that we are not casting for, because we are creating him from ground up. It is going to be created on, it's a computer generated actor. So let's around him cast a world that looks very real. And let's cast unknown faces, or rather unknown faces, I would say fresher faces, who don't come with a lot of baggage and who don't come with a lot of star power, because on poster, I don't want to share Munjya's referencing to the actor, because the minute you have a known actor on a film, then you kind of put him on the poster, and then it just is not Munjya's film, it is the actor's film also. So he was very clear about this, that let me make a film which is Munjya, which is out and out a film that is this creature, and that's how the pitch is. If you remember the teaser only had Munjya in it. The first poster only had Munjya in it, and that was the larger vision. So I said, if that is the case, let me cast good actors who will be able to give justice to the characters. So when I'm casting for a 19-20-year-old boy, I want a 19-20-year-old boy to audition for it. I don't want to audition a 30-year-old man and kind of make him look like a teenager. Or when I'm casting for a Marathi Ajji, I want a Marathi Ajji who's a Suhas Doshi to play the Ajji. If I'm casting for a Punjabi mom, I want a Mona Singh who's a Punjabi and who's in that correct age group to play the Punjabi mom. So I wanted to go very authentic in my casting. And we found some really good actors when we auditioned for all of them. Right with Satyaraj also, when I wanted somebody who was out of this universe altogether, who was neither Maharashtrian nor Punjabi, who was not in the world that I was casting and just looked like a character who came from nowhere into this world and just changed the dynamics of the film. I said, why not go to Kadappa? You know, he's been so iconic as a character actor. And he said yes. So in a way, I've been very lucky, to get these people to be a part of the film. But yeah, the idea was to make a really authentic world. And when you put a CG character, in a world that is an authentic world, the character becomes more believable. And that was the whole intention. In the film itself, when we've ended the film, we have kept it a little open. You have seen the film, so you'll see that Bittu is standing with his magic cane and ready to take on Munjya, and Munjya is still there. So that's the commitment to the Munjya sequel that we'll move in. But post that, there was an end credit scene with Varun as Bhedia, and Munjya also connected to him. So you will see Munjya as a character also in some other film that Maddock does. So there are very interesting connections that are being planned. Very interesting kind of cross integrations that are being planned. It helps in creating a very, very committed audience, and it all started from Stree, because Stree was a very iconic film. Stree is a film that set standards in the genre also, and it did so well that we realized that as an audience also, I realized that that there was a dearth of horror comedies that had to be made. Then Stree was followed by Ruhi, it was followed by Bhedia, and now then Munjya. So when you see the universe kind of really taking shape, when people are coming and watching the films, see, there's one wishful thinking that you want to build it. There is also actually the audience supporting it. So now you see the audience supporting it. Now it's 3-2 around the corner. You can see the anticipation for that film. And then and it gives you confidence that if people really want to watch this genre, people are commenting, predicting about where these films could head, then why not, kind of explore and expand it. So I remember when I put my first teaser out of Munjya, a lot of people asked me, how is this connected to Stree? Is this a prequel? Is this a sequel? Do we have Stree coming in the film? Do we have Bhedia coming in the film? So it shows the excitement of the audience who's waiting to see how this world comes together. And I think I would say the Potter series, Lord of the Rings, post then the Marvel series, it shows that, people want to commit to a franchisee, because see, it gives them an assurance that whatever they would watch would be of a certain standard, will be of a certain understanding, will be of a certain quality in terms of storytelling, and it will be relatable also. Because, I have grown up watching these series, I have grown up watching sequels when India was not even thinking of it. Like one of my favorite films has been Lord of the Rings. It was a 3-part, and I remember sitting through the first and it just ended, and I was so shocked and heartbroken. I'm like, okay, the film is not complete; it's just ended. And then I realized, oh, there's a part 2 that's going to come. So I used to wait in anticipation for that part 2 to come, and I think that is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an age group of an audience that is now going to wait for Munjya. So think about it, a 10-year-old who's seen the film now might be 13 or 14 when I come with the sequel, and might be an 18-year-old when I come with the third part. So he's a committed, dedicated audience for me, and he'll come and watch. It is a supernatural film. See, I'll tell you, it is not my connection with them. It is not like I have an extra added sense of kind of communicating with them. It is just that I am very intrigued by the fact that it is a genre that is hardly done in India. I have been a big fan of it. I have really been watching a lot. So for me, when there's a film that is out there, which is from this world, I'm the first one to go and watch it. It may be in theaters or on OTT, wherever it is. It's my preferred genre to go to. And I always believe that I would want to make films that I would want to watch. So when I attempted Zombie, actually this was my first horror comedy. I had such a blast making it. And I was thinking, why have I not done more of this? So after Zombies, I did not want to do Zombies anymore, because I've done, you see, once you do it, the fun of it, like the fun of makeup, prosthetics, effects, storytelling, it's done. So I said, okay, now let's move on to the next. So we tried to explore a ghost that was in Kakuda. It was shot before Munjya. We did a ghost which was a very different ghost again, a guy, an actor with prosthetics. We explored him, we did cable work, so he flies, he does a lot of things in the film that are very interesting. After that I said, okay, now I want to do a CG ghost. I don't want to cast an actor. I want to go completely 3D CGI and see how this character works. So then kind of Munjya lent itself to it.